Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. This 80s themed video intro is for an 80s themed camera, the Nikon F3, which is probably one of my favorite cameras from that era, and I'm gonna explain you why. First, let's talk about the camera. You see, this is a professional Nikon, so the staple of these range of cameras is the removable viewfinder, but it was literally a system. You could use it with this ginormous power winder or this film bag that allowed you to take around 250 pictures on a roll of film. Yes, that was a lot. But the camera system means that you can tailor build the camera to your own needs for scientific purposes or just normal photography. One part of the camera that might sound like a disappointment is the features. You see, the Nikon F3 is a basic camera. You won't find exposure modes or any metering modes onto this. It's a simple basic camera, and that was the professional cameras back in the day. Something really simple but efficient, something that just works. In a way, I would compare this camera to my turntable here. You see, it's a modern machine, it has a lot of electronic features, but in the end, it's a basic turntable, and it just works. And the Nikon F3, it just works. Reliability has never been an issue with the Nikon F3. Well, if you have a look at that, the shutter curtain is made out of titanium. And the Nikon F3 was never known for bad reliability or even issues. For the image quality part, well, just have a look at my old negatives, and yes, and there is nothing to complain about. Plus, it's Nikon lens, so what would you expect? But why would you believe me? I'm just a small-town photographer with a YouTube channel. What about this image? Yeah, a space mission. NASA used the Nikon F3 for the space shuttle program. It was their official camera. And Nikon was pretty proud of the fact that the cameras NASA used were not that modified from those you could find in the shop back in the day. There were slight modifications to be handled with astronaut gloves, but the internal parts were pretty similar to the consumer model. It's a testimony on the reliability of this camera. Unlike the Nikon F and the F2 and later on the FM series, this camera is not a mechanical camera, it's electronic. If you don't have any batteries inside, the camera won't work. But there is a safety feature. You have this small lever close to the lens, and if you operate it, the camera will fire the shutter at 1/60 speed, so you don't have to worry if your batteries get exhausted during an important shoot. You're still able to shoot, well, only at one speed, but yeah, the camera will continue to operate even if the batteries go totally dead. Another drawback of this camera is probably the fact it uses a non-standard flash connector. So you either get to get yourself an SB12, that was the dedicated flash for the Nikon F3, or you can get yourself this, just like many photographers did in the 80s, a mesh flash that was connected through the PC connector. And the best part of it is you can get these for close to nothing these days, so that's a good thing, if you ask me. So, should you get a camera like this in 2021? Of course you should. This camera has been to space, but it was also from a time where Nikon was king for press photography, though there's a high chance you already saw many pictures taken by one. Plus, it looks so good that this is definitely the camera I would recommend to anyone interested into a legendary camera. The Nikon F3. You cannot go wrong with it. This camera's legacy continues even today in its design. You see, it was the first camera to introduce this red pinstripe on the side. It was designed by Ital Design, Giugiaro, that was responsible for this. And if you are an 80s or a 90s kid, you probably had posters in your room. And guess what? There's a very high chance that this camera was responsible for the photos onto these posters. Isn't that wonderful? I don't know what is. But anyways, that's all I've got for you today. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.